Well, are you ready for something different? Are you? Look at this for a mighty beast. Dated 1992, but I'm taking that with a pinch of salt. The customer thinks it's a plasma. I thought it was a plasma. It's blooming old enough to be a plasma. Look at this. And as you probably noticed from the pictures, it's completely dead. So, what exactly is it? We won't know until we get inside it. Roll the titles and let's have some fun. Hopefully you can see a bit of this beast. And yes, a beast it is. We've taken all the screws out. It's just a very heavy TV. I mentioned in the intro that I'm surprised. This is from 92, but there's a date here, 26th of March 1992. Now there's a date underneath which says November 2008. That's more like it, isn't it? 2008, don't you think? That's going to be our rear culprit. I'll just show you that. So there's that date at the top. DM, what does that mean? Date made, 26th of the 3rd, 92. No, wouldn't have waited 6 years to put it out, would they? November 2008. But still, an old model. Right, the screws are out. There were plenty of them, so it's just a case of lifting this off. Proving that it is an LCD and not a plasma, and I suspect our problem may be in here from experience. We can see the fact it has 2 inverter boards. Main board here. In those days the main boards were always shielded, and the T-cons shielded as well. Power supply there, obviously, and the connections board, part of the main board, is just further down. So as it's completely dead, I'm just going to have a quick look around at the sub and switch power board here. We'll go along and we'll test some fuses. That's obviously going to be the first thing. Okay, going to be testing the main input fuse first on the board here. Don't know if you can see that okay. Maybe you want a bit of a close-up. Let's do a bit of a close-up. Just switch cameras for a second. The meter will be in your bottom right hand screen. Just flapping around at the moment. Yep, as you can see, that's gone to 0 ohms, so we're making a connection on that fuse. Let's have a look at fuses on this board. Right, the power board itself is not fused, that's the fuse in the subboard. Okay, bearing in mind this is completely dead, so we are going to be looking, and I can see something. Oh, okay. If I'd got my glasses on, I'd have probably noticed that before. We were just checking the fuse just there, which is okay. That's a little sub power board, and then I went inspecting for a fuse on here. Can you see anything? Look down there. That's gone pop. As you can see, judging by the little transformer next to it, I'm guessing that that's going to be our 5-volt supply area, which makes complete sense because that's what seems to be missing. So the question is, it's going to be some sort of IC. Well, it's probably going to be the 5-volt regulator, isn't it? Let's be honest. Let's see if it's taken out any of the diodes. Nope, we're fine on that one. Fine there. Oh, that could be good. I don't see any. As long as this reads okay this way. Ah. Okay, that's reading short. So that diode may have gone as well. I'll just no, it hasn't gone. Okay, so at the moment it looks like we've been quite lucky. It looks like it's just a 5-volt regulator there. On IC, well, it's IC7095. But stick the glasses on now, I suppose. IC7905. That seems to be where our issue is going to be. I'm just going to look for a schematic online to find out exactly. That really has gone with a pop. I'm surprised nothing else. Usually a capacitor next to it could have gone. But at the moment, IC7905, which is obviously a 5-volt regulator, is looking like it's the only culprit. I'm going to go looking for a schematic just to find out what it is, to see if I've got some in. If I've got some in, we can swap that over straight away to see if it makes a difference, or see if it goes pop again. But at the moment it is looking just like that. Didn't really want to take this off the workbench, but because of the size of it. But sometimes you have to do things. This is one of those times. Right, so what's going to give us the best angle for you to see on this? I would imagine the left-hand side camera, really. Or shall I say the right-hand side camera? That might make sense. So this is what we're looking at the moment as one of the culprits. I'm not saying it's going to be
the main culprit, but it's definitely going to be one of the culprits. I can just bring that down a little bit. We need to get that out. And just in case you wanted to know what it is, the correct title, which rolls off the tongue, is a power management IC low power offline switcher. And of course the actual switch itself is a DIP 8, and we can see it there. So got some of these from Home Spares, obviously some time ago, but we got some. So I think we're just going to get the soldering iron out and let's take it out.
And take it out I did, and this is where I got a rather unpleasant 350 volts DC up my left arm, enough to make me drop the board and say a few curse words.
Iron, I suppose.
But there's some kind of good news in that. Getting the electric shock led me to where the fault actually lies. I know that's quite strange. Now, you may be saying it's your own fault for not testing voltages, etc., and checking the caps. Well, the reason I didn't do it, it's been 8 days, count them, 8 days since this TV has been powered up. Let this be a lesson for us all. I'll explain all at the end of this video.
Sorry, I don't think I pressed the record button in time. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, the IC is out. I'm just cleaning it up. Need to get some kitchen roll. Don't seem to have any here. Bear with. I think they also put some glue on that, which is not one of my favourite things when they do it to ICs, but do it to ICs they do from time to time. So let's stick the board round to the way we want it. We have some pins sticking out a bit. It's just this last pin, getting it in. Just going to straighten them up a bit to make sure they're okay. I'm not going to use any extra flux for this. Yeah, I think they've gone on okay. Again, a little bit of a clean. There's lots of glue on there from when it was glued down. And it can't be. It would have been glued down that side, would it? Now that's done. I just want to test that diode that was almost reading as a short but wasn't a short, which is this diode just here, which you may be able to see if I turn it around that way. So let me just bring the meters up on the screen so you can see in the bottom right hand corner. I don't know what I've got it switched to at the moment. Let's right. No, it says DC. We don't want that. So let me just see now what we're getting, just in case it was reading across. Okay, let me... That's better. See, that was reading as a short before. It's a 3 amp diode, so we can see a 0.3 drop. That's obviously, yes, that was obviously across the IC we've just put in. Wonderful. That's reading as I wanted it to read now. So that's telling me at the moment, and of course I'm just guessing this, that it was just that IC that went pop. Everything else is going to be okay. So there's only one way to find out, and that's to lift the beast back up onto the bench. So bear with me while I do that and put it back in. I'm trying to be extra tidy as I go along today. I've just had a new carpet fitted in the well. I do make things sound so much posher than they really are. Somebody gave me a piece of carpet, a new piece that was left over, that was big enough for this workshop. Because normally it would cost about £120 to put a new carpet in this workshop, and I've still got the original carpet from when this workshop went up several years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. So I've had to do a real good vacuuming. There we go, that's in place, that's in place. Just get the wires out of the way before I clip it down. There are some clips on this, you see, as well as screws. You have to get the 3 clips in place. That's it, they're in. So I can put everything else where it needs to go. Oh, it's very warm. So anyway, sorry, yes, I'm just trying to keep everything tidy since we had a new carpet. And even though the carpet was quite old before, it was quite clean. I did, you know. If you've seen me work before, you know that I don't like working in a mess. That doesn't mean sometimes I don't work in a mess. Sometimes you have to. It's only a small workshop. I quite admire some of these people, some other YouTube repair guys who really do just work in an absolute mess. They have their screwdrivers and everything all over the place. It gets like that in here sometimes, especially if you're repairing 2 or 3 different things at once. But I don't like it that way, and I try not to make it that way if I can. Right. All screws back in. Almost all the plugs back in. So let's turn it around, set up the camera so we can see with a figure of 8 lead to plug it in. If I can find a figure of 8, now there is one already waiting for me. How beautifully beautiful. Oh, nice little breeze there. Where am I plugging this in? Just here, right next to me. I'll set the camera up first before I press the magic button. Just go around and check that everything's plugged in. It's just a good job I did, because everything wasn't plugged in. But everything is now plugged in. Right. I'm going to stand it up, which means I'm going to block one camera. So I shall just give myself control of the camera angles, because pushing this up will block the screen. There we go. So if I just put the one camera there and the other camera here to be focusing in on here, because that's where we're hoping to have lights. Ooh. Right. Excuse me for a second, I seem to be on camera. I don't want to be on camera, I want to be on... How did I switch that? That's silly. Right, is that better? No, that's macro. Apologies. Right, yes, we are looking at that, hopefully to give us a standby light when I switch it on. So we'll switch some lights off. I mean, the TV hopefully may come on, I don't know, or it may go pop. Didn't go pop, but it hasn't come on either. There's some buttons up here. Okay. So that's interesting. It isn't just that switching unit. I'll just check all the cables again, but
And after all cables were checked, the same result. Still nothing there. So it's either time to get a new power board or look in deeper in this. So I think we're going to have to look in deeper. There will be a part 2 coming as soon as I can.